Right then, let's get cracking with Street Talk. We have got 7 storylines to chat about today, but first we're going to kick things off, as we are wont to do of late, with some Corrie clickbait. What have the papers been saying about Corrie this week? Well, I say the papers, I don't think any of this actually gets into print, it's just online fodder, isn't it? But thank you, as always, Jonathan, for sending us some clickbait. Gemma, I wonder whether you can tell us, what is the Liverpool Echo referring to when it says ITV Coronation Street, hell unleashed, as Roy's killer prison pen pal exposed?
Hell unleashed? What's she done now?
Who is Roy's prison pen pal, according to this article here, and the Facebook group which it stole its tips from?
Brony Shoney Groney's mum.
It is not Lou, no. I don't think you're going to get... You will never guess this. Let me just tell you this one. According to this article, it's Mina from Emmerdale. There we go. Serial killer Mina.
Never in a million years. You could put a million monkeys in my brain.
And then we'd never get there.
And they would just make a mess.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that the discussion of who we may or may not theorise, because I haven't really got very much about who Roy's serial killer pen pal is going to come later on.
Serial killer?
Oh, no, I don't. I don't know. I don't know.
Do you know something?
No, I literally know nothing. But maybe this can come later. But I like the idea that it could be something to do with a crossover, because we're definitely, we are mere months away from Emmerdale Corrie crossover, Corriedale malarkey, so it wouldn't surprise me if there's a couple of little breadcrumbs that are dropped here and there. We'll come back to that one.
Knowing how Corrie's going at the moment, it's going to end up being a child molester.
Do you reckon?
Well, there's already 2 of them in the show now. Why not 3? Three's company.
A charm. The Coronation Street viewers call out problem. This isn't a great one, to be fair. Entertainment Daily. Coronation Street viewers call out problem with Kevin's plan to fight for Alfie.
He's not related to him.
Yes. That was a bit
That's
too easy,
problem,
that one, wasn't it? A little bit of a problem.
That's not... They don't write these because you're not supposed to get for a podcast.
Okay, Manchester Evening News. Coronation Street fans work out who can save Todd Grimshaw in regret observation.
Billy.
No.
Summer.
No, it was somebody else who looked like that they were looking regretful at the Todd situation.
George.
No,
Christina.
The other one. Yeah, Christina.
I love her so much.
Love Christina. She's brilliant, bloody brilliant.
Can you imagine her dressed up like Boadicea, like with a big spear, just lamping him?
I could, yes. Maybe they need to do another war reenactment.
Yes!
We've still got Roy and get Christina on that horse. Okay, right, last one. Coronation Street fans finally get answer to baffling Ben and Maggie Driscoll question.
Oh, this is the accents.
Yeah.
And ever since we said I couldn't tell the difference, it's been haunting me, because a lot of people were kind of like incredulous or like...
I know.
We don't get exposed to very many Irish accents here.
No.
I don't think people who live up north realise how much more influence Ireland has to them than it does here.
Yeah, I mean,
it makes me feel like I've done something wrong, but we just like...
I don't know if I've ever, apart from the lovely Michael Condron, I don't think I've ever met an actual Irish person.
He's from Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I know.
Our next door neighbour is Irish.
Oh, yeah.
He's literally the only...
I forgot that our neighbour is Irish. That goes to show that we're not all like Coronation Street.
I think he's the only person
here.
I've spoken to in 20 years. He's Irish.
Quite possibly. I literally, sorry, I can.
It makes me feel like I've done something wrong, but like you,
I can kind of tell.
Yeah, now I can.
That Maggie and Ben sound differently.
Yeah, I can now. And
I
it's,
can
like
kind
I said, I felt bad about it. I felt like a really ignorant idiot.
If it wasn't pointed out to me, I wouldn't know.
No.
And I couldn't describe the difference, but I get that Ben's twang is a little bit more Jim McDonald.
He goes, her, and she goes, ha.
That's exactly it. That's, you took the words right out of my mouth there. It was on the tip of my tongue. So how was this described in the show this week? What was the reason that they gave us for this? Do you remember?
They moved, didn't they, to somewhere.
Yeah,
she moved to Northern Ireland.
Yeah, to be with his dad.
And where did they go? Did they say particularly?
They might have done. Galway? No, she came from Galway, didn't she, I think? Because that's in Southern Ireland.
No, Ireland.
I tell you, this is why Don't get me
Michael,
started. I
people
say the wrong
died.
thing. I know they did. They had troubles. Right, look, let's get on to Coronation Street before I get myself into any troubles. We're going to be kicking off this week with the Undertaker Under the Thumb storyline. Of course we are. Theo and Todd back in centre stage this week. I've got my subtitle as Todd Crumbles this week, because he did a bit of crumbling and had a nice little rhubarb crumble on Wednesday's episode.
So many things to say about the seasonality of the produce and flowers in this week's episode.
Seasonality isn't really a thing these days, though, is it?
It is. You cannot buy. Where are you getting rhubarb from?
Can you not buy rhubarb at this time of year?
You need to. I believe. I totally believe he bought it out of a can. That I can believe. But
it wasn't Freshco's finest
I don't
rhubarb.
think that Dev's selling bundled fresh rhubarb for a start. Number two, the second thing I want to say, Becky being all smug about buying tulips for Lisa. What, you buying tulips in November? Where are you getting them from?
Did she actually buy tulips? Or I thought she just referred to them.
No, she was saying, "Oh, I normally get her tulips." Well, you could get her whatever you want.
Look,
in your brain.
In these modern eras,
you can't buy.
When our carbon footprint is astronomical,
I wasn't even going to say
whatever you want whenever you want.
I wasn't even going to bring it up because it really bugged me when they said, "Oh, her favourite flowers is dahlias. I used to get her dahlias all the time." You cannot buy them in the florist. You just can't do it.
Is this the Black Friday of this week's podcast?
They are
Gemma?
so rare to buy in florists because they do not travel well. That's why you grow them. I'm so mad about it. It just really why I don't understand.
They need Tracy to go on a rant about this, don't they? Right, we got the Abby storylines now. I wasn't inspired with my new storyline titles this week. I mean, Todd Crumbles was the best I could go. So I've called this Abby Flat, as in like the musical note of B flat, and she's got a flat. But I know it's that. I don't think I've ever done a worse storyline title than that. But I mean, flat is, possibly I could make something out of that because Kevin is also looking very flat at the moment, isn't he? I'm worrying that he's going to be just going full on into a depression storyline. I don't want that in the slightest. Do you?
No, it's
very miserable, very miserable. But yes, Abby does have a new flat this week. She's moved into Lauren's old place, is it? I think in the precinct.
It's a shame that Lauren didn't die because she would have got that cheap.
Yes, that's true.
Murder house.
It was. Well, yeah, I assume it was the murder house that was in there. So yeah, you have to look out for stains on the floor.
Tell you what, that house has been neglected for so long that the decoration has now become slightly trendy again. Well, that 70s.
This was another set that we visited. Did you visit this one? You did, didn't you, on the press day?
I don't think I did.
Last month.
No, I just saw a box.
Oh, yeah. So I went into this one and I didn't really recognise it. But it was exactly, because it was like, oh, here's Abby's flat. And it's so weird because there are some sets that you walk into and instantly you're like, yeah, I know where everything is. I recognise this. This is just how I imagine it off TV. And that one, I think it was because I sort of walked into it from the back end of it. It was all that, like, I barely noticed it, barely recognised it at all. And it's just really, you're right, the decor there does look like something out of the 80s, which I don't particularly
70s.
remember when Lauren was there. But put some pictures online of me dossing around in there, and people said, I can't believe how old-fashioned some of that stuff is.
I
is
love
that a
it.
sideboard of Rita's from the 70s?
I think it's perfect. Well, 70s, 80s, I don't know. But I think the sliding, those like funky kitchen cabinets with the slidey doors, I'm pretty sure that at one point Pat, what's her name?
Pat Phoenix?
Yeah, what's her name?
Elsie
Tanner.
Yeah.
She got her kitchen done up and they put in that exact style, not the same colour or anything, but that slidey, where they kind of project outwards diagonally. I'm pretty sure that she had Len put them in. Not obviously in that place because she lived on the street, but I love that. Oh gosh, it's so cool.
I did when we were at the press day the other month, send some pictures of it.
Press day?
Yes, thank you. I sent some pictures of it to Sally Carman and said that I crashed a house, and she asked me to tidy it up while I was in there.
Oh, cheeky there. Tell you who needs a tidy up, and that's Kevin.
Yeah, he does need a bit of a shave, doesn't he? Yeah. We are going.
No, I meant his house.
Oh, okay.
No fit place for a
Speaking
wee one.
Speaking of shaving, groomed is our next storyline. Will groomed and all the goings on there with the Driscolls. We have got. No, actually, this is my good storyline title of the week.
Excellent.
Gemma liked this one, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to have made this pun to do with writing to people in prison, but I'm calling it pros and cons. Pros as in writing, and there were books in it this week as well, so it was absolutely perfect. Pros.
There were
and
two
cons,
dog books in that mini library.
There were indeed, there were.
For Kirk to start his podcast.
We had a little bit more of the Once Upon a Tim story this week. Just
Which is
on Monday, I think it was.
Why he was in the quiz.
Yes. And Back from the Dead was Back from the Dead itself on Friday's episode with the latest in the what's going on with Lisa and Carla this week. I didn't really feel that story particularly went anywhere on this week, but I hear it's going to go places next week. Gemma, you said that you have got stuff to... Oh, no, you had said you have stuff to say about the seasonality of plants and vegetables.
Yeah, I literally... I
Not
said
about
it now.
this storyline at all.
I wasn't even going to say anything about it, but it just wound me up.
Do you want to take this storyline first?
Not
yes,
really.
You would love to take this storyline first.
This is another one that makes me feel like a bad person, because I'm just watching it as a TV show, and then people are really being affected by this and getting really upset and saying,
I know.
"Oh, I was crying," or
I know. I felt really bad because for Monday's episode, at the end of it, we did the short, and I was like, "Oh, I kind of wish this had built up to some big climax at the end of the episode." And then I saw a load of people online saying, "Oh, the ending scene, it was amazing. I felt so bad. I was crying. I was shaking." I was like, "Oh, I didn't get that." But I'm a really terrible human being, and I'm almost at the stage with this storyline now. If Theo's not force feeding him kebabs, I'm not interested.
No, why are you being so
It's not
horrible?
true. I enjoyed Wednesday's episode more than Monday's episode. I think I felt that Monday's was a little bit too predictable, because we saw Theo last week leaving Todd's phone unplugged, didn't we? So that he couldn't wake up for this funeral, and it was like, well, clearly he's going to oversleep. George is going to sack him, and by the end of the episode he's not going to have a job. And although the journey there wasn't completely predictable, I felt that I wasn't. Yeah, I was ready to. I was hoping to be more surprised than I actually was.
I wished that we got to see the funeral, like him not turning up to the funeral.
Well, we knew that would never happen, did we?
They could have at least had them stand outside, Christina and George, like tapping their feet. Not going to nitpick anything here because it's too important of a storyline. Like I said, I just felt like bad because I was watching it from a storytelling perspective and out of I'm interested to see where this goes. And so when I saw everybody sort of say being like very cut up about it, I thought, oh God, I'm not taking this as seriously as I should do. But I mean, I feel like I've been emotionally wrung out by a lot of stuff that we've talked about on Coronation Street, even in the past year or so.
It's bad. I am kind of taking this storyline,
flannel.
and I know this isn't the vibe at all you're supposed to be getting from it, but I'm taking this as I'm wanting to be entertained by this storyline, and I know that's not what type of storyline it is. I know that Theo is a villain, but he's not I'm an evil serial killer villain, boo hiss.
I just find him
enter
fascinating.
stage left. But he is
As a character.
Yeah, he is an abuser. He's controlling Todd. He's absolutely vile, but I'm pretty sure that Todd's going to come out of this the other side.
Yeah.
And I'm also thinking of the Jeff storyline, because it's very similar in tone in many ways, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're seeing the same cycle of love bombing and abuse and kind of sarcasm and saying, "Oh, don't be so silly. It was just a joke."
Watching somebody be destroyed.
Yeah, and as Jeff, and that was also a horrific storyline, and I think that. Yeah, you're right. It's not been very long at all since then, and Corey's. I'm going to say brave to have another storyline.
Well, it's different because it's a same-sex couple.
It is, but I mean, and there are other little differences, but that was a really well-respected storyline, wasn't it? It was, in an era where Corey, wasn't getting loads of awards, and maybe people weren't, singing its praises. This story came along, and everyone was like, "This is absolutely brilliant," and it's making me wonder: are they doing this story again because they want to try and recapture some of that? But anyway, I'm kind of saying I remember watching the Jeff storyline and again being kind of entertained because Jeff was an entertainer, and some of what he was doing, feeding Yasmin the chicken and trapping her in a box and doing all that, it was horrible, but it was entertaining, and I'm getting those kind of vibes from Theo and thinking, no, this is awful. And Gareth Pearce is doing such a good job, isn't he? Sort of just crumbling, like I said earlier, and this is almost, it feels like it's almost the beginning, even though it's been going on for months now, of the desperate descent into I don't know how far this is going to go. So I was very much enjoying and gripped by the goings on in the Corner Shop Flat storyline this week. Gemma.
I just think he's so well written. Theo is so well written as somebody, and you can really understand what is going on in his head, or I can. I think that's why I'm finding him fascinating. It's like when you lift up a stone and there's all these horrible creatures, and you're like, oh my god, I want to look at this foulness. That's not their fault. They were born that way. But Theo definitely is a horrible insect of a man, isn't he?
He is, but then there's also...
He just takes such delight, like vile delight, doesn't he?
But there are bits... I suppose one way that this is a bit different from the Jeff storyline is there are glimmers every now and then that Theo is... how am I going to describe it? He is kind of weak, and he's delicate, and he's been... he's had this awful past, and he's not necessarily doing it on purpose, and he's feeling genuinely hurt by some of what he's seeing.
But he's
and
setting it up.
He's setting things up, but
And
there are
then
moments
getting
where I'm kind of thinking, he's just had a really tough time. I feel kind of sorry for him, and I don't think we ever really got to a stage in the Jeff storyline where we were thinking, poor old Jeff.
I don't feel sorry for either of them. They're both very pathetic.
But I think that this, whether or not you feel sorry for him, there wasn't any, I don't remember there being anything in the Jeff storyline where
no, I know what you mean.
Where you were supposed to think that Jeff looked pathetic. And...
Theo feels sorry for himself a lot, and you can tell why that's happening, and then how he punishes Todd for how he feels bad about himself, or he feels vulnerable and weak.
You're right. So maybe that is a nice difference between the two of them. But yeah, at the end of the day, he is not a very nice man. And do you feel like that we're getting to a climax here in this story?
It doesn't feel like it.
No, I wouldn't say so either. I mean, we've got this marathon.
We know this happens for years to people.
Well, they made a big thing during the Jeff and Yasmin story of saying, yes, this is a long-running storyline. And it was, 2 years or so maybe that one went? About a year and a half, 2 years? So, yeah, I don't think we've seen anywhere near the end of Theo yet. And you can only guess just how badly Todd's going to be affected by this in the end.
I think with all of these stories this week, I've just emotionally detached myself from them because I can't keep doing it. You know, I can't keep being sad about things that aren't true.
I know,
even though they affect real people, and it makes me feel like a bad person because I'm like, I have to put a distance between myself and the story and just look at it as from a kind of detached, to talk about the story rather than the emotional impact of it.
What I know it's not a competition, but what would you say was the worst thing that Jeff did to Yasmin, and has Theo done anything that bad yet?
It sets a bit of a bad precedent to discuss that, I think.
But I'm just thinking about where the story can go, because some of the major beats in the Jeff storyline, I mean, I think that the chicken thing was absolutely terrible, but that was probably the biggest gasp moment. Like, I can't believe he's done that.
But don't forget, okay, right, so there's a real difference between something you do to somebody that is like traumatic and the worst thing that they could experience, and something that you watch that's a spectacle. And the thing about a soap is they have to have a spectacle. You have to have something visual. You have to see something because this is the problem with Ash's storyline. It's all going on inside our head and we can't relate to it necessarily, and so it doesn't have the same impact. Whereas you can demonstrate physically with Todd and Theo, and also with Yasmin and Jeff, you can physically demonstrate the abuse and show them doing certain things. Like with Jeff locking Yasmin in the box, I think that was probably the worst thing. Yeah, that was horrible. I don't know,
I think for Theo, I think it's sleeping with Pete. I think that was the biggest jaw drop. I can't believe he's done that, and he's flaunting it in Todd's face.
Yeah, but that's not even part of really an abusive relationship. That happens all the time on Coronation Street.
Yeah, I know, but it was the fact that he did it, and he's worn away at Todd so much that he knew that Todd would just come back to him. I think that was.
I think the thing about today's is that it doesn't fit. The kebab scene was probably the worst.
Yes.
Visually, but what he did on Monday was the worst thing he's done so far, because he's broken Todd down and removed his support system and his friendship with George and his job all in one go, and then he blamed him for it and made him feel like crap.
I suppose the milk over the head a couple of weeks ago was also pretty. That was a visual representation of just his cruelty.
Right. So Monday, we know it's the Council Award, is it? His big send off, and George is proud as punch that they've chosen independent Shuttleworths to take care of them for the service. He's told Todd he's got to be there at 7:30. And Todd went out on the lash the night before. Theo kept buying him drinks. He was buying him...
Yeah, he didn't go out on the lash. He had the lash imposed on him, didn't he?
He was buying him double vodkas, and without Todd's knowledge. And so at 7:30, he's still asleep because Theo's also unplugged his phone. And so it hasn't got any charge. And then Theo takes all of the shirts that Todd had prepared, the white shirts for the day, and he throws them in the washing machine and turns it on. And does he wake up then, or does he just say?
No, I don't think he does.
Theo's like, sleep tight, princess, and goes out.
I mean, this is all a clear demonstration that he's orchestrating this. He's not just doing it because he's feeling hurt himself. There is definitely
he's taking
some scheming
delight
going on.
in ruining Todd's life, like absolute pleasure out of doing this. And it's absolutely bizarre that somebody would do this to somebody that they
claim to love. And I do believe that there's he doesn't hate Todd. He's kind of obsessed with him in a way, isn't he?
Yeah, it's so unhealthy.
It's not like he's doing it just for... He's not staying with Todd just so that he can abuse him. He does love him.
He wants to possess every part of his life.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of annoyed that there's this special relationship between Todd and George, I think. So George is like panicking, and he's moaning to Christina about this, that Todd's not there when he's supposed to be. And so Christina, bless her, pulls her finger out here and really helps George out. If she wasn't around, then George would have been in trouble, because she has to go to the printers. Don't know why they're printing stuff up in the morning of the funeral, but I don't. It's not my job, so maybe there's a reason. There might be some new biographical facts that they need to add at the last minute. So Christina then goes to Todd's. It's 9:15, wakes him up, and he's running around panicking.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be 7:30 that he was meant to be up, wasn't it?
I would have gone round there a lot sooner than this.
Yeah.
I don't understand what they're doing at 7:30, but then again, it's not my job. So he realises that Theo's put his shirts in the machine, and so he ends up ironing a blue shirt, and Theo says, oh, it's got a dinner medal on it because it's got like a stain from dinner right in a really obvious place. And he says, oh, I came and told you to get up, and Todd's like, I don't remember that at all.
I
don't remember.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
I told you to get up, and Todd's like, oh no, I'm really sorry, I shouldn't have had a go at you.
Yeah, so he's blaming himself.
Everyone's had that though, where they're like, why didn't you wake me up? They're like, I did wake you up. We had a conversation about it, and then you went to sleep and you forgot. Still,
if I was if I was Todd at this point, and maybe if I wasn't quite so worn down, I might have said, well, why didn't you make sure that definitely was awake?
Well,
but Theo doesn't need to worry, because Todd is so he's been...
he gives Theo the benefit of the doubt every time. So
because Theo's made Todd feel pathetic and useless.
Theo's literally laughing at him as he's running around and getting ready with his blue shirt on, and when he turns up at work, George is fuming at him like, you can't turn up like this, you can't wear that, I'm standing you down. And he says, we undertake to see people out of this world, we undertake to do a good job. You shouldn't undertake, you should really go around the other way. So he and Christina get in the hearse, and they leave Todd standing on the street feeling like a lemon.
I didn't know, I kind of felt a little bit like George's attitude was a bit too plot driven.
Yes, I agree with you.
On Monday's episode.
I don't understand why you didn't go, right, okay, you can't wear that, you're going to have to do something else. Or like, I also don't understand how he's managed, that's what I said, I wasn't going to nitpick. he could have bought himself a shirt in the time it took. You know what I mean? Like, he lives near a tram stop. Anyway.
Yeah, but I it's because we knew where we had strong feelings about where this was likely going to end up at the end of Monday's episode. So George being quite so, he wasn't mean to Todd.
He was just unforgiving, wasn't he?
Yeah,
It's like
unforgiving
you can't.
is right.
I think he was more saying, "I've got to protect my clients. This is the worst day of their lives. I can't have you disrespecting them by turning up looking like this, being late, looking sloppy."
But I suppose, he doesn't know what's going on behind closed doors with Theo and Todd, so maybe, with us we're saying, well, look, it's obvious, it's Theo's fault, and George isn't going to think that. But I see him as more of a forgiving type normally.
But if you were like, right, bloke, this is the most important thing we're going to do all year. You have to be here at this time of the day. You have to be ready. And he's always done it. And then the one day you need him, he turns up like hours late with the wrong clothes on. You'd be like, you're not taking this seriously. This isn't just any job.
I might want to know a little bit more about
what the hell happened.
What happened. Well, this isn't like you.
Yeah, I think
and
that
we
it's
didn't
all
get
gonna...
enough of that. But I suppose George was in a rush.
He's got other things to worry about. So Theo and Todd end up in the Undertaker's later, and Todd, he looks like he's polishing coffin wood samples to me.
What do you mean? What was happening there? I can't remember.
Well, he's got these blocks of wood and he's polishing them.
Oh, yeah, it was, wasn't it?
I don't know. I don't think that's right.
Why?
Because they're not going to be polished when they're underground, are they? I want to see what they're going to look like in 10 years' time.
Good point.
Yeah, that's false advertising, that is. So, Theo's like, oh, I can't believe it. You're so brilliant at undertaking. Why is George so up himself? You stick up for yourself. So what if you're a bit late? And Todd's like, yeah, you're so great and supportive, Theo. I'm glad you've got my back. Theo. So George and Christina come back later, and Todd's trying to apologise, but George can't even look him in the eye. He says, you should never have got drunk the night before a big funeral. You're supposed to take pride in your work. It's fallen off a cliff since your love life perked up. And Christina's like, hey, look, you're pals.
Oh, yes.
Calm down.
This was a very near reference line, wasn't it? Because, is it Todd goes, pals? And you just needed to say it one more time, and then that would have been the fourth wall smashed to smithereens. We all would have loved it, wouldn't we? We would have loved it if he'd have said pals twice, but alas, it wasn't to be.
Yeah, so Todd's just being really rude, and he's projecting all of these negative feelings onto George here that he should be directing to Theo.
But again, I just had a slight twinge of Todd's overreacting here a little bit because the plot needs them to have a falling out.
I think this would have taken this. It feels to me like a condensed story where we could watch this for 2 years if you wanted to make it last that long. But I'd rather they did it like this. What do you think? What would you rather happen?
I didn't need it that long, but maybe if there'd been a few more signs that Todd had been...
They have done it, though.
Had been...
Not taking it seriously.
But because of Theo, his work had suffered, but I haven't got that impression, apart from George saying, oh, your love life's perked up, and now you...
Anyway, George orders him out of his sight, so he slinks off. And Christina's trying to calm him down, saying, look, you've got to forgive him. It's not worth losing him over this. He's really rude to Abby on the street. I don't know why.
This is one of my favourite lines of the week when he was like, haven't you got some brother to be sleeping with? And Abby tries to see how he's getting on. That was a good one. I like that.
He sees George and Christina going to the pub. He goes back to the flat, tells Theo what's going on. And then in the pub, George is refusing to talk about it with Christina. And she's going, look, he's family. You can't walk away from family. So then Theo and Todd go for a jog, and Todd's not really into it. And
I like Todd for that. It seems like in Coronation Street, everybody loves jogging, don't they? Nick started the trend.
I wish I could jog.
And now everybody's like, oh yeah, we're all so healthy here in Weatherfield. You don't see many people working up a sweat and just looking full on shagged out like Todd is when he comes back from every run. We're not all...
Oh yeah, he does.
Our bodies don't all work
acting.
in that way. So I appreciate it as a fellow slob. Not that Todd is. I mean, he's certainly a lot trimmer than me. But I appreciate that not everybody finds it as easy as the Nicks and the Theos of this world.
When people on TV and stuff are like, oh yeah, got back from the gym, I'm like, I feel betrayed. I'm like, I didn't know we were doing this. Why are you doing this when I'm not watching you? You're sneaking around and getting fit while I'm slobbing and slowly dying on the sofa watching your antics.
I do have, sometimes get a little bit of jealousy when I see people in real life and on TV, like, enjoying and being invigorated by exercise.
I hate it.
They come back and they go, oh, that was a great one. Oh, I feel so... And like, whenever I try and do anything like that, it just makes me tired and a bit miserable and thinking, I could have watched an episode or something and played on a Switch for a bit.
I do like having done exercise. It makes you feel good.
I don't really even get that. Because I went for a very long time ago, 17 years ago since I last set foot inside of a gym. And I never got to the stage, and I was going fairly regularly for about a year or so, and I never got to the stage where I finished my time in the gym and thought, oh, I feel really good now. Good sesh
today.
No, I was just like, oh, that was hard work. I didn't really enjoy that. I've here lifting my weedy weights, and I just didn't get it.
Well,
and maybe I've just not found the exercise that's right for me.
They say you never regret going for a run, but I do regret that run I did. I never ran since when I hurt my ankle on Halloween, and that kind of ruined my life because I can't exercise.
Yeah, when we were watching it today, and Theo and Todd were going off on their jog, you said, didn't you?
I wish I could run.
How long ago was that?
It was probably 2019. It was before COVID.
Was it?
Yeah.
I just remember it
I used
being
to love
at school and you texted me and saying that you
crawling out of the woods.
Yeah. What did you do to your ankle?
I twisted it on a root.
Yeah.
On a tree root, and then...
And you've not jogged since?
No.
But you used to semi-like jogging, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I loved it.
Mm. And I
was training for the marathon.
I know. And I didn't mind it because it was with you, but I don't think I'd ever have volunteered to go myself.
I think I'll get murdered if I ran round her.
Yeah, but alas, Gemma has not been able to jog since because she's got a dodgy ankle.
I used to love running by myself at night, and I used to be able to do it where we used to live. I think I was all right. Every so often I'd run and there'd be somebody in the woods as well, and I'd be like, oh, Michael, just come this way. And obviously you weren't there.
Of course not.
They might have thought I was talking to a dog. Anyway,
I'll tell you what.
Running.
The long and short of it is, don't spring a half marathon on me, because I'm not going to appreciate that, Gemma.
I'm very curious to know what the training program is to start training for a marathon at the end of November. That's going to be half marathon. That's going to be in January.
How much?
I think it's just like, don't worry about it. Just panic. Panic for
my
2 months.
My first prediction for 2026 is we'll either see none of this half marathon, or we'll only see the bits that go past the police station and the precinct.
I liked it when they did that run. Do you remember they did that run?
Yeah, they did a run on the Red Wreck once.
No, when they ran,
they showed even the Red Wreck on Corrie.
Isn't that when Robert had a heart attack? Somebody had a heart attack.
Lloyd had a heart attack on the Red Wreck once.
I don't think he was running.
He did. He was in a fun run.
Was he?
Yeah.
Fun run.
I think so.
I want to go on a fun run.
Eva was in that one as well. But anyway, the long and short of it is, I'm with Todd here, and if they're trying to get us to relate to and sympathise with Todd even more in this storyline, then having exercise foisted upon him has certainly done the job for me.
Well, it's a different sort of abuse, isn't it? Because you didn't really get this with Jeff and Yasmin, but Theo's making all these comments about him being fat and eating like, oh, you like your food, and
I can't remember whether Jeff did that to Yasmin. I remember he was critical of her clothing, wasn't he?
But he never made her do a half marathon.
Not a half marathon. I can't remember whether he tried to get her to keep fit or was making fun of her weight or anything. But this seems to be the main thing that Theo's abuse is centering around, isn't it?
He's physically like controlling him, like literally making him run around and tiring him out. And it's so manipulative.
Yeah, is this just to literally wear him down? Or does he want
It's to control. It's just control, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because he can make him vulnerable and put him in a position where he's tired and he's sweaty and he's probably not thinking straight, and then Theo will like land something else on him, like, oh, you pick a fight with him or something when he's emotionally after you've gone for a run, your brain is a bit jangled for a little bit, isn't it? You can't think straight right off.
Not if you're not used to it, like Todd.
I think Todd probably will get used to it really quick if he's been training for a half marathon.
This is true.
So
I just wonder whether he's, are we going to get to the marathon and Todd's going to have to duck out because he's can't even bring himself to leave the house, let alone do a marathon.
Yeah, and then Theo will be like, I can't believe all this work we did together and you can't even be bothered to go and do the run with me. You really let me down.
Yeah, yeah.
You can predict everything he's going to do because it's so clear to everybody but Todd what's happening. Anyway, so Theo's like, oh, you're so sensitive. You any kind of criticism, you just spiral. And Todd's like, look, I'm just going to have a shower. And Theo phones somebody.
Who's he phoned? I don't even remember.
I think it's something to do with the job stuff.
Oh no, it's George, wasn't it? Because George comes round.
Well, after the shower,
you pointed out on Monday that he's got a new
oh yeah,
a new doorbell cam,
a new brand already. I forgot what it was.
No, I can't remember.
It was Hims, and now it's something else. So after the shower, Theo's still going on at Todd like, oh, your moods are bringing a relationship down. This isn't healthy. If you won't take care of your behaviour, I'll have to. And then this is when you're right. George turns up because he's been summoned. So Theo leaves Todd and George to chat. He just watches from the kitchen like a wolf outside the straw house.
Yeah, he's there just watching what's my next move. He's using this conversation to plot and calculate and say, well, how can I use this conversation to my advantage?
Yeah, it's like Terminator. You can imagine like all the text on the screen going analysing, how can I take advantage? So they have this sheepish reconciliation and George is apologising and Todd's like, look, it's a one-off, I messed up, but it's, and George is like, I'm sorry, I was so jangled, I should have asked if you're all right, is there anything going on? And Todd's like, yes, everything's fine. And he kind of looks up at Theo. And then he says, look, I need some peace. And then he sort of loses it. He's like, oh, sorry, I can't reach your impossible standards.
Do you think it was because he saw Theo looking and realised, well, what does Theo want me to do here?
Yeah, probably.
You're right, you're getting
no, I'm just thinking. He says, I don't want your job, I don't want your pity, get out. And George looks like a smacked puppy. He gives him this such a tragic look, like, why are you doing this? Like, really betrayed. And Theo's like, and Todd is just like broken on the sofa and then over comes Theo and says, you're a pathetic, self-centered little man. And then he sobs on the sofa. And Todd
was doing this to George because he thought that that's what Theo wanted him to do. And it was what Theo wanted him to do.
I don't know if that's what I think he was just feeling like, people having a go at me, left, right and centre here, I've got to stand up for myself. Because the old Todd had, was a feisty guy. I don't think he would have sat and taken abuse so much.
Well, I guess, he can't take it out on Theo at the moment.
Yeah.
Although sometimes he has, but then he's always regretted it afterwards. So George is getting the brunt of what he really wants to do to Theo.
George is a safe target. And he needs to take his frustration out on somebody.
Yeah.
So he's projecting it onto George. And then he kind of feels, like he's probably in control of that situation, but then immediately realises he's made a terrible mistake, and the evening is left with him crying on the sofa in the dark as Theo walks off triumphantly.
Yeah.
So on Wednesday, every time Theo's done something horrible and kind of triumphed, he is so happy the next day.
Yeah, it's like clockwork. You can guarantee, isn't it? You got these horrible late night scenes when he says this, the pathetic what's it, and then the next morning, he's going to be there skipping into the kitchen.
Yeah, made him some overnight oats, and he's like, I've got a business meeting, bye. Then Theo finds Todd having a bacon butty in the cafe, and he's not impressed. But neither is Todd, because Theo's being followed by Pervy Pete.
I enjoyed this I feel bad for saying it, but this, to me, was the highlight of this story on the week, this Pete stuff, just because of how unbelievably cruel it was on Theo's part to bring Pete back into Todd's life. Yeah.
So Theo's telling Pete, you're out of order for what you did, and he said, I'm not holding a grudge. I want to work with Theo, but there's another contender, so I need to decide who I'm going to give my business to. Look, I've forgotten everything that's happened, Todd. You don't need to worry about it. It's all fine. And then Summer comes up to Todd and says, I heard that you're making a fancy meal for Theo, because Todd's decided that he needs to make it up to Theo because he's kind of ruined, he's not got a job anymore and he feels guilty.
Yeah, so he's going to have the rhubarb crumble, isn't he?
Makes a mushroom risotto in a saucepan.
Is that not how you do it?
Not really. And he was putting cold stock in it. Oh my God. Anyway. So I tell you what, Ollie wouldn't like it.
No.
Ollie would be like, this is rubbish. Is this fake truffle oil? Got a load of crap. So anyway, Summer's like, oh, we were supposed to be going out together. Like you said we would go out. And he gets a bit snappy when she makes a joke about Theo wearing the trousers. And then Pete tells Theo, right, okay, we've had our meeting. I'm going to go to a different scaffolder to get another quote off him. And Theo's like, oh, don't go. Why don't you come to dinner with me? So he invites him over for this romantic meal.
So cruel. Yeah, not just because Theo's doing a romantic meal, because it's literally Todd's making the romantic meal. It's flaunting. Hey, here's the guy that I slept with.
Yeah, make
in his
him dinner.
face.
Now you make him dinner.
Yeah.
Like humiliating.
And it was a test. Like how much have I worn him down? And
well, it didn't. It didn't go how Theo expected it to.
No, it didn't. But the fact that Todd even entertained the idea rather than saying no way.
Well, he can't. He's over a barrel here because their financial future is now completely in jeopardy. They've got no money coming in.
No, but it just went to this. If this was nothing else, this was evidence from Theo that I literally can get away with anything at this point.
Well, so Summer finds out from Billy that Todd's lost his job, and she's quite shocked about it. And so then we come back to Todd when Pete and Theo walk in. And he's like, what the hell is going on? And Theo's like, it's just dinner. It's fun. I don't have a choice. You got to charm him. Like, you back me into a corner. You're just gonna have to cook and do it. And Pete is like really weird and flirty and touchy and with Todd. And Todd doesn't like it. He tells Theo that he's a creep. And he's like, look, I know, Todd, but we're desperate. Maybe you wouldn't have to do this if you hadn't quit your job yesterday. But you need to turn the charm on. And also, I'm looking forward to your rhubarb crumble.
I was wondering whether this was going to a really seedy sort of, hey, let's have a threesome. So, did you wonder whether that was coming? And it still might.
Oh, God.
That's the thing, mightn't it? Because the way that it was left at the end of the episode. Ooh.
Well, anyway, over dinner, Todd is like, turns on the charm 100%. He's like talking about him and Marcus at it at the show home, being naked. Pete's loving it. Theo is not at all. Theo is seeing them flirt a little bit, and he is very uncomfortable.
This was great, the reaction, because Pete was opposite Todd in the table, wasn't he? And Theo was there in the middle, just absolutely glowering and fuming. And it almost felt to me like Todd knew what he was doing.
No, I
don't think he did in the end.
I don't think so.
But he was so good. But this is what Todd's like, and I think I could have imagined the Bruno Todd doing a bit more of this kind of charming, and I love Gareth's version of Todd as well, but yeah, the old Todd I could have definitely seen being able to do this, but he was ugh.
Here's another weird thing that he did food wise. He had baked the crumble when they walked in for dinner. He'd already made it, but then Pete doesn't get any pudding.
No,
I don't understand why he didn't why did he put the crumble in when they were eating dinner?
Maybe Pete's more of an apple pie man.
Oh, maybe. What would you like? You don't like anything with crumble. Fruit. I have so much fruit in our freezer that you will not let me feed you. It's so frustrating. I keep making peach crumbles and you hate them.
I like your strawberry puds.
Yes, strawberries are expensive, and we didn't have a good crop this year.
Oh, back to seasonality
we didn't have a good crop this year, Master and Michael. We're going to have to eat peaches instead, if that's all right.
Yeah. What was that nice banana we put that you made the other month?
What?
I don't remember.
Banoffee?
Maybe. I don't know. Anyway.
Invented in the south of England, that was. Right, so Pete buggers off, and then Todd's immediately like, oh, God, what a lech. And Theo is very quiet, and he's not really sure about what's going on here.
That was the moment when I realised, he wasn't actually enjoying doing this. He wasn't enjoying winding Theo up, because that's what it felt like a little bit to me. But yeah, by the end of it, he was still leaning on the door saying, hey, Pete, maybe again sometime.
Theo's like, I know I've got no right to be upset here, but you can't, I just don't know who you are, How far are we going to go, Todd? You looked one glass away from sleeping with him. And Todd's like, hang on a minute, what do you mean? I was just doing what you asked me to do. I didn't mean any of it. I was just flirting with him because you said we had to butter him up. And then things get very, very tense. And Todd's like, look, nothing I did this evening compares in any way to what you did with Pete. And Theo's like, I've seen a side of you that I don't like tonight, Todd. People were right about you. And he huffs off.
I just think that Todd could have still been doing what Theo wanted him to do without, if he toned it down a little bit.
Now you're victim blaming.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that I'm not victim blaming at all. I'm just saying why I felt as I was watching it that he was kind of doing it to get back at Theo, but still having the excuse to saying, well, you told me to do it, because he could have charmed Pete without being so overtly flirty.
It worked though, didn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
If Theo wasn't so fragile and jealous, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess he could have joined in. It did just, showed off his jealousy.
In a healthy relationship, you go, look, that made me uncomfortable. Could you not flirt with people right in front of me, please? Because I don't like it. And he'd go, yeah, okay, I can see why. I was going for something, it didn't work out. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, he goes off in a huff. Then he comes out of his room later on and is like, oh, I'm hurt. I'm not angry. Oh. And Todd's like, oh, I've made you crumble. And he has put a massive...
It was, you'd have almost thought that there was enough there for Pete to have had a good old portion himself.
Pete could have eaten some of that crumble.
There was barely any room for custard in that bowl.
I know. That's disgraceful. So Theo's like, oh, what a huge portion. Everything you do is so extreme. Food, sex, lies. I don't even know if we're compatible. I think you should sleep in the spare room. He's always making him sleep in the spare room. Billy asks George about what's happened with Todd, and George says, you're going to have to talk to Todd about this. Don't make me tell you.
That was it. Then they had that sad scene, didn't they?
Christina and George are going to the bistro, and Todd's there, and he looks like he's been crying. And they walk past him, and George just doesn't want to talk to him. And then Todd sort of crumbles to the floor and cries.
Yeah, Todd's putting out the bins, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
Like the skivvy. And it was so sad because George probably did want to go and see what's going on, because he does care about him. He cares about him as a bit of a surrogate son, doesn't he?
Well, he said
but
this.
He's got his pride at this point. But it seems like it's going to be Christina that will be eventually the one that's going to reconcile them.
So on Friday, Theo brings pastries, and again it's a dig, because first of all he says, oh, you dreaming? When you dreaming about other men at night, it's only a joke. You can't control what you dream about. I was just asking. And then he's like, oh, here you go, here's your fat little breakfast, fat pig. Well, he doesn't say that, but he's basically insinuating it. It's like, here you go, I know you like this kind of stuff. So they have all this breakfast, and then Theo's like, let's go for a run. And Todd's like, no way, I just ate a load of stuff. I'll be sick. And Theo's really like, oh, fine, I'll go by myself. So he goes running around. He sees James, and they start talking about fitness. And then James says, oh, you should join the Weatherfield half marathon. You look like you'd be good at it. And they're like, yeah, let's do let's go running together. So James and Theo run around. And they take fitness selfies, don't they? And he uploads it on the internet because he's trying to make Todd feel jealous. And then Theo's like, oh, get over yourself. Because Todd thinks they look too pally together. And then Theo kind of cheers up a bit enough to make to tell Todd that he should join the marathon. And Todd's like, no, I don't want to. And Theo's like, look, let's just do a quick 5K and then get blow the cobwebs away. So they end up at the pub. Todd's sweating buckets and demanding lager. I can't imagine drinking a pint after you've just gone for a run. Theo's like, guess what? Surprise! I've signed you up for the half marathon. We're both going to do it together, and you can't say no because we're raising money for an MND charity.
That was a really sneaky move, wasn't it?
And Todd's like, uh-oh.
There's literally what can Todd say to that? This is going to be Theo saying, "What we're doing it for Paul."
You don't care then, do you? You don't care about him. He's dead. I bet he wishes he could have run.
Yeah, exactly. How do you think, if at all, James is going to play into this?
James just seems to get sucked into other people's drama.
It's because he hasn't got anything going for himself, bless him.
Well, he's supposed to be co-parenting.
You think he's forgotten about that?
He's still letting Dee Dee's just walking around, like, dispensing sage advice to people as she pushes the pushchair this week.
Do you think... I can't remember. There's been bits and pieces with Theo and James in the past, hasn't there? Because Theo had, at one point, been jealous of Todd with James. And do you remember he went to his door once?
He wouldn't let him do... Yeah, he threatened him, didn't he? Why were they friends again, then?
Oh, I don't know. But I think that... Is Theo just seeing an opportunity here for someone else that he can make Todd jealous of?
Yeah.
So is he going to proposition James? And
Probably.
Is James going to do anything about it?
Well, James wasn't
the old
happy.
James, I'd say no.
James wasn't happy to be put in the middle of Abby and Kevin and Carl.
They're not still hooking up.
No. I think he was like, this is not who I was wondering, because some people don't care. Like, it's not. They'll be like, oh, it's not my problem. It's not my relationship. I don't care. It's just a fling.
Yeah.
Whereas James seemed to be genuinely like upset about being cheated. You know, the partner that somebody was cheating with.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'd go for it.
I wouldn't like to think that James is the sort that would knowingly cheat on somebody.
But Theo might go, oh, me and Todd broken up.
Yeah,
so
exactly. I think that's a quite easy way around it. So I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, maybe that's...
Well, look what happened to Molly and Kevin.
See,
that running
with the Carl story
makes you feel sexy.
You know, I don't want to skip too quickly to the end of the Carl story there, but the final scene of today's episode is him on the on the blower to his Freund in Deutschland, saying, "Yeah, let me come over
Germany
here and
calling.
I'm going to come here. I'm going to ditch Abby. I'm going to come over and live with you." But the whole James thing has got to come out, hasn't it? So the way that Carl was speaking at the end of it will.
No, I think that we've already had the fallout of that because of the...
Until Abby knows, no way.
Go
on. What do you think?
No, go on, yeah.
I just think that the way that Carl was talking at the end of the episode was, I'm coming over pretty soon.
Yeah, I know.
You know, in the next week or two. And I've got no idea how long Carl is staying in the show, but I don't think any of us expected him to be a long-term character once the type of person he is made itself apparent. But I wasn't expecting him to be gone so quickly.
I don't think he will be.
Do you not?
His plans with Debbie haven't come to anything. I think he's going to do something terrible to Debbie.
Well, I just wonder whether it's going to be a case of quickly fleece Debbie next week, get the cash to go over to Germany. But again, why does he want to go to Germany if he's got these loan sharks after him? Unless he is literally going to take Debbie's money. Because he did a deal with somebody on the phone today, didn't he? So it kind of leads me to believe he has got a little bit more control of Debbie's finances than she thought. I mean, she's got a very long trip to Italy at the moment, it seems like. But I feel like it could be he's just going to rob her blind, hop on a plane, but Abby's got to find out about James. This is not narratively satisfying unless she discovers that they've been at it, Carl and James. I just think it's going to come out anyway. But this story this week, it was definitely the B story because it kept running all week, but I didn't find it that exciting. Did you?
Sorry, I'm so distracted by these messages that keep coming.
We are getting texted by Michael Adams. We're in the middle of a podcast. Come on now. I don't
even know what you said.
This week's story, the Abby storyline. It was there wasn't any kind of big twists or revelations or anything really.
I know, but you say we both criticise things for not going anywhere, but then things do happen. That sometimes have to happen more slowly than you want them to, but then you complain when things happen too quickly.
The problem is this story has just worn me down to a place where I've got little to no sympathy for Abby, which I never thought would ever happen because I loved Abby. But everything, she's brought it on herself, and I know Carl has manipulated her. Well, no, he hasn't. He's just charmed her, and she's fallen for it. And it's like, well, yeah, Abby, this is what happens. You shouldn't have cheated on Kev when he had cancer. And I in the back of my head, I got these little worries that they're going to get back together because, Kevin's obviously cast adrift here and he needs something to set him straight. And I hope it's not Abby. But then
wash his pants.
But then I want a happily ever after for Abby because I do really love her deep down in my heart. This story shouldn't have happened. I wish that there hadn't been an affair storyline. Yes, it's had some exciting moments during the year, but for the damage that it has done to my precious Abby, well, I'm not happy with that. Kate Brooks, thank you very much.
I don't mind this story. I think I find Carl really fascinating. I remember when we found out he was coming back to the show, and we were like, "Oh my goodness," because he's such a blank slate.
Yeah.
And they could have done anything with this character, but making him a villain, I think, works quite well because of Kevin and Debbie being in the show.
I just think it's wasted him because it's made him a short-term disposable character that's not going to be in it, 6 months' time probably.
I don't know why you're saying that. I really genuinely don't think that...
He's going to be chowing down sausages in Germany before.
For me, I think that Carl is one of these characters who could go next week and we never think of him again.
Like Bobby.
Or...
But Jack Carroll had an interview on
I did see this.
Some spy this, so yeah.
No,
go on, sorry.
I think there are loads of people in the show who have done worse things than him and been main characters for years and years and years. So I don't know why you kind of see him as... I think it's because he keeps talking about buggering off and like he hates everybody. I think if he does something terrible to Debbie, I think we'll see him leave.
But I
don't know if he's going to get a chance.
I don't know whether this has been a recent thing, but it feels like in the last few years there's just been a lot of new characters shipped into the programme that have only been here to facilitate a particular plot, and then once they've served their purpose, off they go. And Carl, in my head, is fit neatly into this box. Then I might have said the same about Kit, and he's not seemingly going anywhere, so I don't know. Let's have a quick run down this one. Poor Alfie's sick this week, isn't he? So Carl is persuaded by Abby to go and pick him up from nursery, but he's too busy at the hotel doing his secret underhand machinations there. He doesn't really want Alfie. He's never been that interested in him. So he's only too happy to palm him off onto Kevin when he walks into the cafe. And
I just love that it's part of his evil nature that he doesn't like Alfie. Because I'm like, this would be me. And I don't think I'm as evil as Carl.
It's so funny with Alfie being in it, and it's like Imran's...
I know.
Still in touch with the street a little bit.
But it's funny.
Imran's not got a mention. It's not got a name check, has he?
They could... They don't really have people that just don't like children who aren't evil, do they?
Of course they do.
Who?
I don't know.
Who would be like this like Carl is with Alfie, who isn't like a bad person?
I guess so. But
because like the stereotype is if you have a woman who's like it, it's like, oh, she's unnatural and evil. Yeah. Or like she's a business lady and she doesn't have time for silly women nonsense. But with men it's like, oh no.
Yeah, I guess
how could you resist the charms of the chubby-cheeked Alfie?
Anyway, Kevin's only too happy to take him off Carl's hands. And eventually Kevin takes him back to Abby and says, well, you palmed him off onto Carl and see where that got you. He's a piece of work, isn't he? He didn't even want to take your kid off you. Alfie has got to be your priority now. And Abby's like, no, he is. Honestly, I had something else that I had to go to. And Kevin walks off seemingly pretty smugly to have shown Abby how useless his brother is. So Carl gets an earbending from Abby later on in their new flat. He tries to pass it off as just being compassionate to Kevin and saying, oh, Kevin needed some time with his son. He's not had a chance since you left him. But and it works as well, doesn't it? So they have a little kiss at the end of the episode, and she realises that maybe she was just being a bit unreasonable, but she wasn't, because Carl is a bit of a git.
She's so blind to him that she can't see that he doesn't like Alfie.
I know, and I would have thought that Abby would have been a bit more switched on to noting that. Is it because her life has been turned so upside down at the moment, and
she's made a fantasy in her head, and she thinks Carl's a good guy.
Is she is she too afraid to confront the fact that she's maybe made a decision and it's like, well, I've made my bed, I've got to lie in it now, even though deep down I maybe feel that this isn't quite right? When I don't think we're getting quite enough signs that she's mistrusting him, are we?
No, we're not, no. It's sad because there are women who would go, well, get rid of the kid then. There are horrible women like that. But I don't think Abby is supposed to be that person.
No.
Abby is now very caring about her children.
Yeah.
Since she's lost them, she value, you know.
Well, this is what comes up on Wednesday, isn't it? Because eventually Kevin tells Abby, I'm taking Alfie off you. And that was a massive wake-up call for her.
Like
because, well, she's already had Charlie and Lexi taken off of her.
Well, Seb was taken away.
Yeah.
By being killed.
So, well, quite. So she's like, oh my, this can't happen again. And also,
Don't take him and kill him.
I think that she would feel, I don't know, do you think she'd be feeling any like she'd be letting him run down at all, that her son would be taken away from her? I don't think she really really cares about him. No, that's true. That's true.
Maybe as well, a little part of her is thinking, this is the only thing stopping me from boozing and drugging. If I don't have somebody to look after.
Yeah.
I don't think that's come into her head at all, but I wonder if it would do if he were to take Alfie away and then Carl leaves her. How bad could she get? She could spiral really badly.
Yeah, she absolutely could. Well, Carl gets a bit of a wake up call, doesn't he? Because he's there just doing whatever on his phone, and she says, "Are you listening to me? Are you happy?" And I thought that this was funny because if you compare this to what happened with Kit the other week, when David and Shona were making fun of the fact that he's not seemingly showing any real commitment to Sarah Louise, and he was like, "Oh wow, actually, I 100% want to," and he does do this, but by the end of the week, he's not. So
what are you talking about? Carl
is being called out. Yeah, Kit had that as a bit of a moment saying, well, look, actually, I need to reevaluate what I want. I do actually want to stay with Sarah. Yeah. Whereas Carl, he kind of goes along with it for Wednesday's episode, but then by Friday, it's like, nah, actually, Abby's right. I'm not interested in this. This is the longest relationship I've had for a long time. Time to ship off.
I can just say what they want me to they want me to say.
But I was watching Wednesdays thinking, oh, maybe they are going to have him turn over a new leaf. So I was very pleased that the other Friday's episode, he's shown his true colours, to the audience at least. So, yeah, Carl pulls the stops out on Wednesday, doesn't he? He's lit some candles around the flat. They have a bit of a snog.
To it.
He swears he's happy, and
mind you, there's probably so much asbestos in that place. if you held a flame to it.
Yeah. Kevin brings Alfie round to the flat later. He's been sent home from nursery because he's poorly again, and he's not impressed, as you wouldn't be, to see your younger, fitter brother bobbing out of the bedroom in a dressing gown. There was an awful lot of scantily clad men on Coronation Street this week, I have to say. I think we need to even up the balance this week, because we had Todd with his kit off on Monday, ironing his shirt. Theo parading himself around after his shower today. And there was that scene when he was rolling his sleeves up as well. It's just like, I just can't quite see enough of my bicep here. I just need to hoik it up. And then you had Carl there with his dressing gown. I tell you, it's not
so on. The call that Carl cancels is
I forgot that.
The nursery phoning, and Kevin's like, they've been trying to contact you and you haven't answered the phone because you've been shagging.
You're right. I missed that. I totally missed that.
And she's like, I didn't know. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, but he's not trying to cause trouble there, is he? Carl, he's like...
Yes, he doesn't care. He must have known it was the nursery.
Yeah, he is, but he's not...
He's not doing it maliciously, but how can you... It's neglectful, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. He's not interested at all.
Less.
No. Anyway, so Kevin says, Abby, you're just massively slapdash here. You're not thinking straight.
Slapdash.
He's like you.
Such a slapdash mother.
Totally. I'm having to clear up your mess all the time. You're not fit to be Alfie's mum. In fact, I'm going to apply for full custody here. And Abby is completely knocked for six by this, and she's so ashamed of herself. This has been a massive wake-up call for her. And Carl says, well, you know what, if Kevin wants a fight, we'll give him one. But
he doesn't care.
He doesn't whatsoever, no.
I think he should be like, yeah, Kevin should probably take Alfie.
Well, he did, because he was disappointed once the end of Friday's episode realised that his. I think
it's funny that he didn't.
It wasn't Carl's plan to make it so that to bait Kevin into threatening to take Alfie, was it? That just happened to go his way.
But it's funny that he didn't try to capitalise on it at all. He just so comfortable with lying to Abby. He didn't even try to go like, oh, maybe we should let It's probably because he knows that Alfie means too much to Abby, but also he's probably like, I don't care in the long run. It's not going to happen next week, so
I want to see the moment that he dumps her. How
you
badly
want to see the exact moment her heart breaks in two?
Yeah, like how cruelly is he going to do it? Is he going to let her down gently, or is he just going to drop her like a pile of bricks?
Is he going to be mean about it, or is he just going to be so cold?
Because he clearly doesn't care about her as a person.
No,
she's just there as somebody to keep the bed warm. And so it wouldn't surprise. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he just kind of tell her maybe a few home truths about what a drugged up skank she is, as Tracy might say.
Drugged up skank.
I wonder, and whether he's gonna tell her exactly what he thinks about Alfie as well, because he seems like the sort who will have his fun and then not just let somebody go, but push them away to make sure that they are not going to come back. Yeah. So that could be quite a scene, and maybe he'll be the one to say, and you know what, Abby, I've been having it off with James all this time as well, just
James
to really,
is in the corner going,
just to really grind it in. I don't know.
Why am I being brought into this?
So there's a little side story going on, if you like, on Friday's episode, isn't there, with Kevin wanting to organise another poker night, and it never comes to anything because nobody's free.
Oh, he's lonely and sad.
He's lonely and sad, but is this going gambling? He didn't invite Kevin. He didn't invite Ed to the poker night, did he?
No,
because he could have told him the dangers of that.
Can he not spend one evening alone?
I think that
I'd love it.
I think that
I've finished watching that series.
He had been spending time alone, but
then he had the poker night and he loved it.
No, he knew that it's not bad. It's not good for him. And Jack had sent him that message saying, "I hope you're not just lolling around on the sofa." I think he's trying to stop himself getting into some awful, sludge pile on the sofa.
I think maybe
but gambling isn't the right way about it, because he bet his car to Sally and she said no, you're right, but I wonder whether he's going to have another poker session and actually lose something big.
I think if this did become a gambling storyline, it would be the first one where I genuinely see a connection between what has happened to somebody and why they would want to gamble, because we never got to see the start of Ed's gambling problem. He just came to us with it already, and then he kind of went back into it because he needed money. And then we also seen Carla do it when she was sad, but it always seems like, oh, I'm sad, so I'm going to do something destructive. And we already had alcoholism, so I'm going to be a gambler. That's how it feels.
Sylvia get into gambling for a little bit as well at one time, and then Roy had to go to the casino and break the system so that his mum got his money back. Money back.
But with Kevin, I can see why he would feel like I want to gamble, because it's poker. He feels like he can control it more than you would. I don't remember. Was it horses? Obviously, we had Peter with the bookies and stuff. I think Kevin feeling there's a social element to it, but also like, I want to control my situation. I want to be on top again. I want to be like, I've been so. I can't think. I'm powerless. It's powerless because he had cancer. He was powerless because his wife left him, and his brother's rubbing it in his face, and his sister's got dementia. But he's like, I can control this situation. Maybe I don't win every time, but I'm the king of the castle. Here I am. I'm throwing these poker nights. People are coming around. I'm winning. I'm losing. But at least I'm controlling my fortunes. Yeah. And maybe he might end up like having games with people that he doesn't know, and maybe he might end up. I could see Carl using this as a weakness of, of Kevin and
yes, actually, he could
like fleecing Kevin in a set up match.
In what world would Kevin agree to Carl coming round for a poker night?
It depends on how desperately addicted he becomes to gambling. Like if he just like I don't care, or maybe Carl will be like, look, there's a bloke, he's terrible at poker, but he's rich.
I mean, I would say of the neighbours, you know, they were all telling Kevin today, no, sorry, I can't make poker. But he's clearly going through something here. And if I was his mate and my self-destructive other mate was saying, come round, let's do some gambling, I'd be like, yeah, maybe that's not the best idea.
Why don't we go watch a film?
Yeah.
Why don't we go watch Wicked?
But I mean, I suppose, you know, everybody can see that Kevin is having a tough time, surely, because it's very obvious, but nobody's really bothering to do something about it. And I think that's a little bit sad. That
it is a bit sad, but can I say that...
I suppose it's Tyrone a little bit, but he's got his own problems.
What support network has he kind of nurtured, you know? Like, everyone was really nice to him when he had cancer, but it was surprising to me, because I do think lots of men don't have support networks. And obviously there's this epidemic of like mental health issues with men who don't have... But you've got to nurture them. They don't just happen. You have to put time and work
I believe
into it.
enough that he's good mates with Tim and Steve, and we just don't see enough of it. So I feel a bit bad for him that they're not knocking on his door enough.
But Kevin's sad, so I'm going to have to play poker with him.
Well, I also
he can spend a night by himself.
I kind of feel a bit bad for Jack in all this, because the way Kevin's acting, it's like, I've got nothing left here.
I know.
I might as well just drink myself into oblivion and gamble all my money and assets away. And Jack's like, hello, I am still here. I may look like I'm old enough to leave home, but I am only 16 still. Kevin's like, can you play poker? Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. I throw in my leg. So today's episode with Carl and Abby, it was Jack's back, isn't he? And he's blanking Abby, and she's just like wallowing. Why? And Jack's got another inset day. It feels like Weatherfield High only just had an inset day the other week, but hey, as long as they don't go over 5 in a year, then it's perfectly fine in my book. So yeah, we have Abby meeting up with Carl in the pub over lunch, and she tells him about this encounter she had with Jack, and he tries to get her to agree to go on a night out, does he? Or just have some nice evening together? I can't remember what that turned into, because the story kind of gets derailed somewhat with Tracy coming in. And I was a bit confused about what the stage to the relationship between these two, because we've seen very little of them for so long, and they were kind of snapping at each other, and I was trying to think, has anything happened between them? Are they actually not friends, or is they just drifted apart, or is Tracy just being, you know, bitchy because that's her default? Tracy tried to blackmail them because she found out that Abby and Carl were together. Oh yes, thank you for reminding me of that very obvious and massive plot point that I'd forgotten. Carl threatened to kill Ken. Yes, that did happen, didn't it? She doesn't like Carl. I totally forgot. I'm glad I got you here. But it's my memory, and I'm getting old. I don't remember. They have this really weird interaction all episodes, don't they? Like all these interactions where Tracy is just being vile and really enjoying herself as well. Like revelling in just being an absolute bitch. I enjoyed how Maggie was blatantly taking Tracy's side, and she's like, oh, I quite like her. Yeah, she loved it. And when she found out that she killed somebody, she thought she was great. I know. Wow. I think you would, I don't know, in real life. I thought it was funny. I think I'd be scared. Well, I don't think I know. It's silly because in the world of Coronation Street, it's this accepted thing, and they kind of brought it up, didn't they, with Maggie and asking Eva, so why is Tracy walking free? And Eva's like, I don't really know. I don't know. Anyway, look on Coripedia, and it's literally Corrie. How would you find it out? What? Like in real life, if you were them, how would you find? I couldn't rest till I found out. I know. But it is Corrie just kind of hand-waving away the ridiculousness. And how long ago is this? Like, over 10 years that Tracy's been out of prison. This does not feel ridiculous to me. I've seen so many true crime documentaries now where
things get thrown out for stupid reasons, and somebody clearly did something, but they can't prove it.
Anyway, Tracy ends up winding Abby so much until she gets a punch around the chops, which is a very satisfying one. But yeah,
did you write it down? Ecky Thump.
It could be a nomination
There's
for
a lot
Ecky
of
Thump
Ecky
this year. This year has had so many more punches and fights and scuffles than probably the last 5 years put together on Coronation.
Kate Brooks is a right scrapper, isn't she?
She is. She does. She likes to go dust up, does the Brookster. So anyway, they end up, to cut a long story short, they end up having a bit of a scrap, get kicked out the Rovers, then sit on the bus stop together and make up. Is that basically what happens
cries.
there?
Abby just dissolves into tears, and Tracy's like, oh, bloody hell.
Yeah. And then she kind of realises, oh, we did used to be friends, didn't we? And then they go back to the pub together. And
well, they've been barred, but they're allowed back in.
Well, they get barred by... Isn't it Maggie persuade Eva to do it? And then when they came back in, Maggie's like, oh, well, I'm going to welcome them back in again. So she was literally just undermining Eva.
Yeah, stirring.
Getting her to go downstairs and get the crates as well, yeah. Tracy ends up going around to see Kevin and telling him how upset Abby is. And he says then, oh, look, I was just trying to shock her when I said I was going to take Alfie. I wouldn't actually do that. I'm not serious about it. I can barely look after myself, let alone a toddler. So Abby's chuffed to little mint balls to hear this news at the end of the episode. But Carl isn't. He'd very much got used to the idea of a lovely not single life, him and Abby with no Alfie in the picture. So as soon as her back's turned, he's on the blower to his mate in Germany saying, I'm coming over. What's that? You got a flat for me? Yes, please. So it feels like his flit is going to be at his earliest convenience as soon as he's managed to flee Stebby. And she can't stay in wherever she is, Sardinia, for that much longer, can she? So he's going to have to move fast.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
Do you not?
No. I think he's sticking around.
I feel like he's outstayed his welcome now. It feels like the end is nigh for me.
Be ready to go somewhere, and then an opportunity will arise that he has to jump on to get money. And it's either going to be taking advantage of Kevin at poker or getting Debbie's passwords.
Maybe. I still think that we're over the halfway point with Carl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that was that story. I don't know whether there's anything with much. Did you? Yeah, I did write down this little mention of it was Tracy telling Abby, look, I know your life sucks and it's upside down at the moment. At least you're not Fizz. At least you're not Toya. It's like, can you imagine being Toya with her placards and her floral blouses and her vegetarian options? Poor Toya.
Being maligned.
Poor Toya. Not only is she not being used at all in Corrie this year, now she's just been the
subject of gossip
and jokes. Honestly,
Rude.
terrible stuff. But she did get a little bit on the in the Platt storyline this week, didn't she? She got to have at least 2 or 3 scenes where she was talking to Shona. Speaking of which, tragic times for the Platts. Gemma, do you want to take over and say what's been going on with David and his missus this week?
Well, Shona's on a health kick, isn't she? And she's making David eat butternut squash salad.
Oh, what was that thing? I can't remember what it was that he said he was eating, and somebody asked him how it tasted, and he's like, "Well, if I had to push, I'd say it tasted green." Right? Yeah. I know what you mean, David.
You don't know what he means. When's the last time you ate anything green?
You sometimes say you're having some aubergines in this, Michael. They're good for you, and I know they're not green.
What colour are aubergines?
Okay, you made me have some avocado last weekend, didn't you? That was very green.
Yeah, there's probably more avocado tonight.
Is there?
You sound so excited.
Great stuff.
Right, so David's got this jar of lion...
At least it's not a skewer of fruit, eh?
Oh my god, terrible.
Still have flashbacks about that.
That's crazy. That is, honestly. David's eating a jar of lion's mane mushroom powder, and Mum got us some of those more today.
What?
Lion's mane mushrooms.
Did you? I didn't know what this was. So what is it? Just like a mushroom. What's it? What is it? What's it good for? What's it supposed to do?
I don't trust any of these things. I think they must all be. There must be ones that are real. But I just automatically think, and if anyone tells me this is a superfood or this is a supplement, I just think you're a scammer.
If it came from Holland and Barrett,
I think Holland and Barrett are like like a voodoo shop. How much of it really does work?
Peddlers of fantastical potions and pills.
Yeah. I just don't trust it. Surely some of them are real, because you can have too many vitamins, can't you?
Yeah.
It can really make you ill. Anyway, they're just trying to be healthy.
He's starting to wonder whether they should tell other people about what's going on, because he's still determined to. Does he definitely want to have a termination,
no,
or does he just want to
talk about it?
Yeah, because she's like, absolutely no.
They're still waiting to find out.
He wants to tell people, not just so that there's not a secret, so that he could hopefully people might be able to persuade Shona.
No, I don't know. I think he just doesn't like keeping secrets from his family because they're very close, and maybe they can give them advice, because it's a really big decision and hard burden to keep between two of you when people are talking to you about a baby that you're not sure is well.
Yeah.
So on Wednesday, Shona's like really kind of puts Gemma on the back foot, where she just bluntly says, what was it like finding out that Alid was deaf? And Gemma's like, well, it was a shock, but look, he's thriving, and that, it's fine. So Shona and David go to see the consultant at last to find out what really is going on, and she gets told she's got a cervical teratoma, which is a congenital tumour. It could be cancerous, but they need to have a biopsy. It probably is benign, but she's going to have to go in every week so they can monitor her, because it's very serious.
Cheery stuff there.
And David wants to talk about the options, but Shona's like, no, don't need to know any more than that. It's all fine. There was a lot more that they said that you didn't write down about...
Apologies.
About, like, you might have to have we can operate... That was all quite important stuff.
I got... So the option now is it that she delivers the baby early and then it's operated on? Because I thought last week they were saying about operating on the baby while it's still inside of her, but maybe I just misunderstood there.
I'm not sure. I think they're just going to have to monitor it, and they don't... There are lots of options, but it's not really an option. It's the baby, it's the baby's decision of what's going to happen, because there are methods that they can use, but it depends on what happens with the baby and how the progression of the tumour. So they go to the bistro, and Toya brings them this baby mobile.
Yeah, she talks about
cute little. She's like, music's important for babies' development, and Sam is so excited to have a cousin, and David's like, well, the baby might not make it. And everyone's aghast. How do you
feel about David doing that in the middle of it?
It was really awkward. I think Shona's in denial, and David had to really step in here and say, I can't be happy about, I can't sit here and pretend that this baby present might even get used.
Yeah, I think
this is too tragic.
I think it was a risk, but he knew he didn't think that Shona was gonna dump him or anything over it. So it was just a way of getting it out there.
Maybe for Shona's benefit too. This can't be a secret.
But he's been suffering as well, and
yeah, it's his baby as well.
Exactly.
So Bethany, Nick, and Toya are all there, and Shona's like, I don't want to, she's got her head in her hands, and David's talking to them, and she snaps and says, we don't know anything. We're trying to keep it quiet because we can't answer any of these questions you're asking. And she huffs off, and Shona and Bethany go with her, and then David...
Toya and Bethany.
Shona, Toya and Bethany go back to the Platt's house. And Nick stays with David. And then we have this, narrative device where they're having conversation. It's kind of like Grease, the Summer Lovin' song, where they're talking about the same topics and having different answers to the questions they're being asked. Yeah, I think it's a really interesting choice that they've selected this particular storyline to use these techniques of storytelling that are so different from the usual. Because I do think that at times they're bordering on being slightly comedic without them realising it.
I didn't think that these back and forths on Wednesdays were anywhere near as experimental as what they did last week. No, but it still was. I found it jarring. I really wish they'd used
a less serious storyline to use for these techniques. Do you know what I mean? I feel like
didn't particularly bother me this week.
I think it's undermining for me the emotional impact it's having, because instead of paying attention to what's happening, I'm thinking, that's interesting. Why have they done it this way? I wonder, blah blah. How are we going to talk about this in the podcast? I'd really rather this was used for a more frivolous story, or like
Carl and Abby affair story,
like a murder. They've had so many murders and serial killers and stuff. This kind of stuff.
I didn't mind it too much, because for me this scene kind of highlighted that they both want to say things but they can't really say them.
Yeah, I know.
They some of their responses were mirroring each other's, weren't they? So and
some were different.
Yeah, and having them saying them to their listening ears, to their support network in close proximity, was a case of we're close and we're on the same page, but we.
I don't know whether I'm saying it's not working. I just think it's taking me out of it too much, and I don't think this story needed these techniques, but they're doing them well enough.
Yeah, it really didn't bother me at all. This on Wednesday,
but basically, they realise they're struggling to communicate and they need to be supportive of one another.
Yeah, Nick tells David, look, you just maybe do need to listen to Shona here.
So David gets home and apologises to her, and she says, look, I understand, because you got a lot going on. We need to lean on each other. It's not going to break us. We love each other. And then the baby starts kicking, which is so sad. I don't know how. This is one of the most tragic things I can imagine.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like she is going to have the procedure, doesn't it?
I feel like it's going to happen at Christmas.
That feels a bit too far away. I don't know when it can happen.
She's not even very far along, though.
No, I mean, what is she? 16 weeks, maybe. I'm guessing, because the scan that was the 12-week scan that was missed must have been about a month or so ago.
How many months is that?
Well, if it's 40 weeks is your pregnancy, isn't it? So you're not halfway there yet. Maybe it will be Christmas, but that's flipping miserable, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think
it will be a Christmas miracle.
I still think at the end of the day
and
it's
David's
going to turn
birthday.
out fine. Oh gosh, yeah, David's birthday.
Normally he's moaning
Double
that
whammy.
he has double presents, and now he's going to be maybe put it into a bit of perspective that perhaps that's not the worst thing that could happen at Christmas.
Can you imagine if the surgeons or whatever are saying, right, Mr. and Mrs. Platt, we're going to have to deliver the baby, but unfortunately it's going to be on Christmas Day, and Dave's like, no, can you just put it back one day, please? That's my birthday. I'm not sharing
my birthday with this kid and Jesus. No, I don't think the baby will be delivered. I think they'll do an operation in utero.
I thought that they were going to say it was being delivered, but I don't know really.
Well, this is why I would have preferred it to be written down.
I thought I did, but I'm clearly not.
Maybe it's in someone else's story somewhere.
I enjoy in this, not for the same reasons as the Theo and Todd one. I feel like it's less terrible of me to say that I'm enjoying the drama of the Theo and Todd story than this. I'm appreciating the good scripting and performances of the David and Shona episode, and I really, really do have an awful lot of love for those characters and the family as a whole. So I wish we'd have seen a bit more of it on Wednesday anyway, but I'm sure it will be coming back into our screens very, very soon. The Will storyline. So we had the inclusion of Daniel of this one in Wednesday, didn't we? Monday's episode was just it was just a little bit of Maggie and Eva going to the salon, and Maggie declaring to Audrey and Bethany that she's only doing it so that she could keep your friends close and your son's latest mistake where you can see them. But the grooming story came back just for a little hello on Wednesday, which was he'd been doing a bit of training with Megan, got a personal best, and again I'm still a little bit getting the ick with some of the humour in these storylines. Yeah. And we find out that Will is swerving school so that he can spend time with Megan.
Maybe this is the thing. Is that the jokes last week were being said by other people, and everyone was like Megan and Will were squirming a bit, right? And it was kind of unintentional. Like we could see that there was supposed to be humour in it, and the rest of them had no. This one was Will and Megan saying that he got a personal best, right?
Yeah.
They said that like it was a joke, and I just wonder whether last week doesn't count, but maybe this humor kind of thing is a way of adding to the grooming of like, this isn't serious, like this is kind of fun, naughty, sexy shenanigans we're having. It's not a big deal. Maybe
I think that's what they think. Will's still thinking this is great, isn't he?
No, I'm saying that she's using this like smutty kind of is to undermine the seriousness of what's going on. Do you see? Like, if we can joke about it, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was certainly not what was happening last week.
Like I said, we had Daniel appearing in this on Wednesday, and he's been away from the show for a very long time.
Does she have a cardigan? Does she come with her own cardigan?
I know, that's what I was thinking. Like,
they sold my cardigans on eBay.
How does she look in knitwear? Because that's how I like to choose my women. Although I wouldn't say that Daisy was rocking cardigans, was she?
Daisy wasn't a cardi girl.
No. But
anyway.
Anyway,
actually she was. She did have some good cardigans.
Daniel's head is turned by Megan in the shop. And then she tells him about coaching Will, and then Will saying, well, Megan might move here, and Daniel's like, oh, well, maybe there'll be a PE teacher job or something going at my school soon, so I'll put in a good word for you. And
number one, I wouldn't listen to Daniel's advice about a PE teacher. Number two, who's leaving now? What they've done wrong.
I just like the idea that Daniel is so, if he's not deputy head yet, then he's going to be pretty soon, isn't he? Like he and Mrs. Crawshaw are like that. But it's like, is he really going to be able to put in a good word? I don't know. It's just bizarre. Like, I've never met you before. You look kind of pretty. Have a job at my workplace. But watch this space for that one, I suppose. So yeah, she ends up doing a bit of flirting with him, which Will doesn't appreciate. And she says, look, I just thought it could maybe help me get a job here. And that's basically
she's making
it,
him jealous.
Yeah. So can you foresee a relationship with Daniel? Is Daniel going to pursue her? Is she going to have to go along with it? Could that be a cover story?
Honestly, the inclusion of Daniel in this storyline was like went down like a lead balloon with me.
Really? I didn't mind it so much because I like Daniel and I've missed him. He's really not done anything since Daisy's disappeared, has he, really?
No. Nothing about it is interesting. I can't see how adding Daniel to the story is going to make it better.
I wasn't a huge fan of it before. I'm slightly more interested now, but it's still not quite grabbed me as much as maybe they're wanting it to.
Oh, interesting fact about Anthony Cotton's Scarborough Airbnb.
Oh,
it's right between Hull and Whitby.
Oh, well,
I've been wanting to go to Whitby since I was a kid.
Why?
Because it's scary and spooky.
Okay. Anyway,
I don't know nothing about this culture of this country.
Not much to say about that story, really. I guess it was just having a bit of a down week. Roy, new story alert.
You know that it was in Dracula, right?
No, I do not know that. What's Roy up to, Gemma? What's Nina up to? They also, I think they must have just, turned a corner in the Corrie Green Room's corridor this week and gone, oh, Molly Gallagher, yeah, you're on the cart. Rob Mallard, fancy seeing you here. Do you want to be in some scenes? Oh, Harriet Bibby, yes, come aboard. Because these are some characters that have been severely underused this week and this year, sorry. And yeah, we got to see a bit more of them.
So Nina tells Summer that Roy has been acting very secretive and like antsy about the post, and he demonstrates this by grabbing an envelope and disappearing, like one of those, those little boxes where you open them and a paw comes out and then it takes.
I love how like overtly Roy.
He's got he's
like he gets the envelope, doesn't he, and then just backs away, melts into the bedroom off. Like a Homer into the bush.
Yeah,
nobody can see me.
So she catches him sneaking around and asks him point blank what's going on. And she's like, look, is this post like something bad, like from the hospital or something? And he says, no, it is a prisoner letter scheme.
I don't think any of us were expecting him
Nobody
to say
saw
that.
This one coming. It can be a lifeline to people inside with no friends or family. I've got 3 prison pen pals, actually. and he's writing letters in the cafe because the set's out of action.
But you always flat set,
flat.
yeah, clearly. It just about makes sense to say why Roy would want to do this, having had prison experience last year, but then equally you could say, well, he probably wants to just forget about that horrible time of his life.
Well, anyway, he's writing letters and he's surprised that Nina's told Summer about it, and he's got more than one letter that he's hidden. And then on Friday, I think he's buying stamps from Brian in the corner shop, and Roy tells Brian what he's up to and says it's very therapeutic and it's good for the prisoners. And then this is when Brian talks about he used to have a pen pal who wrote to you for 20 years. And Roy says, well, I'm also writing to one of the prisoners' mothers as well. And I do think that these are clues that we're supposed to be putting together about who this could be.
I know. Well, we paused it on Wednesday, didn't we, when he had that secret letter because...
Oh, to read it.
Yeah, because he's got his letters which he's telling Nina about, but then he's had this like secret bit of A4 lined just kind of shoved underneath there, and we paused it, but it couldn't really
did a
make
really
it
good
out,
job
could
of
you?
hiding.
Yeah, it was a bit creased, and the angle, you just... There's the name at the bottom which we can really make out or didn't recognise.
Silverware.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's basically somebody saying... At least it does confirm that he's writing to someone in prison because it's got a prison stamp at the top, and this guy in the letter is talking about something when I get out.
Yeah, I heard you got a cafe in Weatherfield, so maybe you could help me out. If you didn't want to, that's cool. Or something like that. So, he says something like somebody got stabbed, prisoner stabbed in the quad.
Oh yeah, I can see it more clearly now. But there's not really any clues as to who this is. But you're right, it does feel like if we gave it a bit more thought, we might be able to put it together. But that's just the soap watcher in us. It could well be that it's absolutely no one, because Roy's been kind of secretive with bits like this before when he was making the connection with his family and his dad and the woman with... Do you remember the ring when then he went off to...
Yeah.
Went to Portsmouth for a month to check out his ring. So we've seen him do this before. I don't know... Is it anything to do with the crossover? Maybe.
Well,
but not necessarily.
Roy's now also got a bee in his bonnet about putting up a mini library in his...
Yeah.
I thought they did this before during COVID.
I know, it does ring a bit of a bell.
I'm surprised he doesn't have this already.
I thought they've got a load of books on the shelf in the community centre just down the road, haven't they? It seems a bit superfluous, really.
And they're also using up a premium table.
Yeah.
It's not a good business decision, I don't think. So he set this up, and he says that the lady that he's writing to has given this idea of this bookshelf, which I assume is this prisoner's mum.
Well, no, that's what somebody else said. Brian makes the assumption because Roy's mentioned this prisoner's mum.
Well, I assume
that's
well.
weird, isn't it? Like, if you're corresponding with someone in prison, and we know that happens, just ask Jim McDonald and old lovely Hannah. But why would you then write to one of their mums? That doesn't feel.
It feels like there's a bigger connection than just I happen to have decided to do a prison pen pal.
Yeah. Like, who is in prison that... There's probably plenty of people, but I think lots of people's mind would go to, say, Rob Donovan, but then his mum is dead.
Well, also, one of the Warner Brothers...
Yeah, maybe Logan and Matty. I don't know, I'm not particularly inspired by being anybody that's in there at the moment. Anyway,
they like the idea that he's got this lady friend, and they gossip with Brian and Ed about this, and Brian brings up that maybe it's this convict's mother, and Nina wonders if maybe that's why he hasn't mentioned it.
This isn't going to be a romance story for Roy, is it? It doesn't feel like it, because everyone's saying, oh, Roy got a girlfriend, but it's got to be something else here.
Maybe it's Clayton and Shona.
Maybe it is.
And Shona just hasn't bothered bringing it up.
I hope that whatever it is, it's in character as Roy. And it's not like, oh, it turns out that
good.
Roy's got somebody pregnant.
Oh,
and that's who he's corresponding
You're
with.
just getting
that's
flashbacks from the Hayley stuff that's
I know,
going
the
on
Hayley
Classic.
stuff is going on in Classic at the moment with Christian. It's like, no, that doesn't sit right with me.
Right.
So the Tim storyline, again, not loads. It was basically just a reminder, yet again, that Tim thinks that he wasn't groomed as a child, and Sally says, "Oh yes, you were." I quite enjoyed kind of the main set piece of this storyline, if you like, was the dinner confrontation at the bistro where Sally is there with Tim and the McAuliffe kids, and then in waltzes Tricia with a boy who's 17, 18 or so. And Sally's like, hang on a minute, she's grooming someone over there. So she marches over, and Tricia's quite affronted by this accusation and says, "This is my grandson." No, nephew or something, wasn't it? Yeah. And the kid confirms it. So Sally's left feeling a bit like, oh, whoops, I kind of put my foot in it there. But she's still very much telling to Tim, you were groomed by this woman, stop trying to defend her. And then Tim walks into Tricia in the street at the end of the episode, doesn't he? And she's all kind of at sixes and sevens about what happened at the bistro, and saying, so Sally can't just go around making accusations like that. I didn't do anything bad to you, did I? We both knew what it was. And Tim says, well, I've not really given her much thought, really. But when she walks off, he is giving her a bit of a pensive look.
Well, he says, look, I'm glad how well things have turned out for you. I wish you all the best, and leaves. And Tim stares at her, and having been a newly minted Tim expert today from doing my quiz, he did have a pretty sad life as a young kid.
So
and maybe...
Did we got anything out? Like,
well, no, because Jeff was his dad.
Jeff thing, yeah.
Jeff was his dad. His mum died when he was young, I think. And,
no, what do you mean?
He had... Elaine went off because Jeff was abusive, and then he had another... he had a partner.
Yes,
I think that if you put it together with Jeff being a bit of an abuser, and the fact that Tim never learned properly to read or write, and the fact that his mum left him when he was so little.
Yeah, I guess he was a bit of a neglected kid.
Perhaps that maybe
easy to take advantage of.
She had a lever there to get into to his life, because he was probably didn't have a mother figure that he felt like he could turn to. Maybe he thought an older woman. Maybe that's one of the reasons he was attracted to her. Not that she was much older.
I didn't get the impression that Tim really needed an excuse. I think that it was really just a case of...
Is he kidding
she's
himself?
The bit of fluff in the shop.
Is he not? Maybe he's rewriting history in his head.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? But the fact that she said, I'm glad how well things have turned out for you, and he looks like, oh... I wonder if he's thought to himself, maybe all my women issues, whether they stem from my relationship with you or if that was just part of the symptoms, maybe I have had a really messed up life.
Maybe.
And I never realised it till now, because he is a happy-go-lucky guy. He doesn't go in for much for introspection. No. But when you look at his romantic history, he had Faye with a drug addict that he left when Faye was 2, abandoned his kid, married Charlotte as a laugh.
Yeah.
And then he was, when he and Sally got together, that was really dicey, because he avoided her for ages because he kind of got scared of too much commitment because she came on too strong to him. And then eventually, she wore him down. But he hasn't, even the beginning of the relationship with Sally was not healthy. And it clearly was only done because that was part of the plot at the time. But if you want to put together a story of Tim having emotional issues around relationships with women, there's evidence for it.
What did you make of Tricia's story of this kid in the bistro being her nephew? I think
it is her nephew.
Do you reckon?
I can't see...
Because the boy confirmed it, didn't he? But then you might say he was told to do that.
I can't see how she would be able to convince a boy... That's
the only thing I thought.
...to have a romantic relationship with her.
Yeah, I don't think that she is... But, we still got that holdover of on her social media when Sally was looking at her a month or two back. Somebody had made those comments saying you're disgusting what you do or what you did. I don't remember. We kind of got the impression that she's still up to something dodgy. But you're right, I don't think that... I don't know. I can't imagine that there's many teenagers who would be up for a roll in the hay with somebody of her maturing years.
I think maybe it's possible to be a predator and take advantage. We've said this before about inappropriate relationships. You don't have to be in a... Like, with Courtney and Ardy, they were both the right age. Well, they were both of age, but Courtney still took advantage of him and manipulated him into a sexual relationship. And there's no reason why Trish couldn't be doing this with people who are older than 16, but are like under some kind of like, you know, maybe I don't know, I'll just pull out an example, like maybe she runs a choir and it's a youth choir, and maybe one of the boys in the choir is, you know, very young, and the mum doesn't, you know, she can see it's not appropriate, but the kid can't. You know, it doesn't always have to be somebody who is not of age.
No.
The predatory, to be a predatory person, and maybe as she's gotten older, power. She's had to move on to a different kind of victim.
It's still funny though, because I still think that she's a very charming character, and it's a bit sad that she's clearly going to be revealed as being some kind of monster towards the end of this, because I really think she's doing a great job. I think they picked a really good, very, very good casting for this character.
She convinced you, would she?
I'm saying nothing. But I'd like to see a bit more of her, because she's been very spottily used over the last few months, hasn't she? Unlike this lot, Becky and Carla and Lisa, who never seem to be off our screens at the moment. And I was thinking, I think on Wednesday's episode, we've not seen the police station for a good while now. Are we going to make it another week with no police station scenes? Absolutely not. On Friday, back goes Carla, get arrested. So do you want to have a just quick rundown of this one?
Yeah, so... it's the anniversary of the first time they slept together, but this isn't addressed in the show at all.
Have you just learnt that on
social
media? I learned this
from Swallow fans on Twitter. But it doesn't get brought up. Carla's just like,
Carla says it's nothing, doesn't she?
Oh, it just, you know, why can't I buy you flowers? I got you pastries. We're going out. And then in barges Becky, and she's like, "Oh, Lisa prefers tulips because we went to Amsterdam once." And everyone's like, yeah.
No, I'm thinking it's great. Every time she brings something up, I'm like,
she's like, "Do you remember that time? You might like anything." She's like, "Oh, that reminds me of when we went to Budapest. Oh, do you remember we went to Tokyo? Oh, we went to the Cape Town." Like, you've been everywhere with this woman, and everything you think of can remind you of the holiday you went on.
Yeah.
Maybe she works for Hayes Travel, trying to get back in.
She's like the member berries off South Park, but she's member Becky.
Well, again, the Swallow fans have pointed out that there was a bit in the show where Lisa says to Carla, "Oh, it's not like we were always going off to Marbella all the time because we didn't have any money because Becky was terrible with money." And then also apparently there was a bit where Becky didn't have a passport. So I don't know what all these trips are about. Why she's talking about it. Then Carla gets a phone call because the police have turned up at the factory because there's been fraud, and so they have to bring her in for questioning. And Carla's been a right little snot,
there's accusations of fraud, isn't there?
Yeah.
Paperwork has been presented to them that would suggest that Carla's up to a dodgy business.
So Carla's like, "Oh, I don't have to do. Robbie did this. I don't want to go." And she's making life very difficult. And she gets taken into the room and into the interview room, and Kit comes in. And he's like, "You know, we've got some really compelling paperwork here." And she's going, "No, it's Becky that's done this. It's obviously Becky." And he's like, "Well, do you think Becky's a financial whiz kid or something that can fake all this?" I don't think so. And then Costello calls him away. And then Kit comes in and says, "Right, you can go. I'm not going to tell you why. I'm not going to tell you who reported you, but everything's fine." So Lisa comes into the police station set to use it a bit. Parade around in there, and she gets told that Carla's been released, and it was all set up by Eli.
Who was?
Eli was the guy that Sarah Louise tried to seduce by locking him in the room while he had to go to Liverpool airport or whatever.
And he's just been biding his time all these months to get his own back on Carla.
Well, we find out why later, don't we? So Eli's reported her for fraud, and so it's not actually Becky's fault. So Carla calls Becky to number 6, And she's got no idea what Carla's talking about. She's going, oh, your funny little scheme didn't work with your fraud scheme, and she's like, I don't know what you mean. And Carla grabs her by the scruff of the neck, and she's like, like shaking her, like everyone like wants to give her a shake, and she's not really fighting back at all.
It's because she knows she's been back in Coronation Street long enough to know that if she just sits there and takes it for a while, then someone's going to happen to coincidentally walk in on them. Just like, what was it when Kevin walked into the pub today just as Abby was punching Tracy? Becky's like, yep, 3, 2, 1, and here's Lisa to come and find us.
With Becky, she's probably like, this is great, this is brilliant, because if she beats me up and hurts me, then I'll just come crying to Lisa
Well,
about
exactly.
it.
She's already been spinning this yarn about
Yeah.
Carla being manipulative, violent. Yeah, exactly.
So Carla's like got her over the sofa, like trying to strangle her, and Lisa comes in like, what the hell's going on?
Becky should have been like, hey Lisa, do you remember when you got me over the sofa that one time?
Do you remember we did this when we went to New York? So she goes, no, it wasn't Becky, it was Eli. And Lisa, and she's like a bit cross. And Carla's like, oh yeah, the other day I did slag Eli off to one of his best mates, and he probably found out about it, and that might be why he's taking revenge on me. So Carla goes up to the cafe with Ryan, and she's like going, look, this is bonkers. I cannot believe this woman is still here. I'm being gaslit here. And he's like, oh, maybe you just think that you are, because when I got my scars, when people looked at me, I thought they were looking at my scars, but maybe they're just looking at me because I'm handsome. Oh, Ryan.
No, it's just scars,
Oh,
Ryan. Nice that you told yourself that.
Carla's like, Betsy comes in, she wants some trainers, and Carla gives her money, and Betsy calls herself her favourite child, which was quite funny. And then when she leaves, Carla's like, oh, what's going to happen with Betsy? Like, she's been poisoned by Becky here, and this is going to mess her up. And Ryan says, Carla, Lisa is going to choose you every time. So Becky is kind of brooding in Victoria Gardens, looking at holiday photos from when they went to Istanbul. Like, this is bonkers. These people are the most well-travelled.
I know.
They must have... Did they do this when they had Betsy, or was this all before she turned up? So anyway, Lisa goes to her, look, you've got to stop, right? You have to stop. You're stalking us. And Becky gets really offended by this accusation and in a huff, yeah. Carla returns home, and she and Lisa make up, and they both say, oh, I thought you were mad at me. I thought you were mad at me. Give each other a cuddle. When Lisa tells Carla that she told Becky to leave them alone. And Carla's like super relieved about this. And she says, I'm going to keep a lid on my temper where Becky's concerned from now on. And
but
they
is she
hug,
though?
But then Lisa doesn't look totally at peace, does she? Like, she thinks there's more gonna happen here.
Yeah, she's like, we've just started this story on a Friday. I've got a feeling this is going to run into next week, and it's only going to get more dramatic.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it does, because I'm still going a bit back and forth on this storyline, and when it's not in it, I kind of miss it, because I'm finding just Becky still insanely watchable. But today's did feel a little bit like, oh, here we go again.
It just is so inconsistent, because Becky was like, I've got to stay here, I can't go outside because Curtis's men are outside looking for me. And then today she's just wandering around again, coming through the front door.
Yeah.
Coming and going as she pleases.
Oh, they've left me alone
Still
now.
living in her flat, presumably. Still, she had that conversation on the phone last week, going, oh yeah, I want a flight for my family to Spain. Costello's having meetings with her every week, going, you've got to get the hell out of the country, I'm fed up with you, go to Spain, go to Spain, go to Spain. Oh, I remember when I went to Spain for 4 years, pretending to be dead. Do you remember that? Here's a photo of me. Like, is she... It's just not... It just doesn't feel convincing. Like, everybody's kind of hypnotised by Becky being completely unreasonable. And they're like, oh, we're helpless. What can we possibly do?
They're,
it's like, tell her to get...
They're not asking the big questions.
They're really not
that they
like, what
should
the
be
hell is
asking
going
still.
on? How can... What is your plan? What is your actual plan here? Because you keep saying Curtis is coming to get you, and then you said to Betsy that you wanted to go to Spain and you wanted her to go with you. When are you going to go? Are you actually in mortal danger, or are you not? Nobody's... They're just letting her swan around.
Maybe they will just have an airport scene, and it'll be Becky and Carl crossover at Manchester
What are you doing
Airport.
there? Getting away from a mad bird? Yeah, me too.
Right, anyway, that was this week's Coronation Street. I think we definitely ran out of steam after the Todd story, but for me, that was
I think we managed to condense quite a lot of stuff there. Well done.
Yeah, we did. I mean,
you're normally a bit more detailed,
but I just didn't feel like there was a whole lot of exciting plot developments to cover this week.
Most exciting thing
outside the Todd and Theo story
that happened was that Kirk's starting a podcast about dogs.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, this is funny because this was leaked. No, not leaked. This was teased, wasn't it, in the soap magazines last week? And then everyone's like, Todd, Kirk's going to get a storyline. He's going to do... But I think it was just a little joke for today's episode. I'm not expecting that to go anywhere.
It's a lot more difficult than just talking about something that you like to do a podcast.
Would you listen? Maybe episode 1, give it a try. I don't actually have a
dog, but I do know some naughty dogs that need a bit of... And I know it sounds like an innuendo, but I do genuinely need... some help with some dogs that I know who need socialising.
Right, I'm going to give this week's Coronation Street 3 Donatellos in their original box out of 5, which was, that was, who was it? Kit, wasn't it, when he was unboxing his stuff.
Donatello's the purple one.
He was, yeah.
I kind of like Kit for that.
Donatello does machines, Gemma.
Yeah, Donatello was my favourite.
Really? Yeah. Michelangelo over here.
Yeah, because you're the cool guy.
I think literally my love of Michelangelo was just because he had a similar name to me.
You couldn't be less like him.
Yeah, he's the party dude.
He's a party dude.
That is not me.
But he's orange.
He is orange. He's Conversation Street orange, is Mikey, isn't he? Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
No, I like Donatello because he was a smart one and he also had a big stick. Yes. And I really wanted a big stick like that when I was little.
Well, who knows what Michelangelo had because he was censored over here, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, because he had those knives.
He was supposed to have nunchucks, wasn't he? Michelangelo's weapon is nunchucks, forks. And they gave him some little forks or something Spoons. In the UK version.
He plays the spoons.
If you're you know,
we didn't have Ninja Turtles. We had Hero Turtles.
We had Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Yeah, absolutely.
Because it was too violent.
We weren't allowed ninjas back in the early 90s.
Ninjas. That's a bit racist, really, isn't it?
Badly influenced the children at school.
Yeah, they still kicked the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
Just called themselves heroes while they did it, which actually is more sinister if you think about it. But yeah, I respect Kit for picking Donatello because he's a smart one. And I never would have thought. I would have thought that Kit would have thought of himself as a Leonardo. And like, I'm the one in charge, I'm the cool...
I'm the main one.
I'm the main one, I'm the hero.
A bit rogue.
The hero turtle.
I think that I would like to see Teenage Mutant Bistro Ninjas. That's the Coronation Street spin-off that I would watch.
I would watch that too, yeah. Who's your character of the week? What are you
scoring? Oh, character of the week.
I'm going to give this week 3... Victorian dominatrix outfits that Sarah was wearing because that dress is frightful, isn't it?
I think my character this week is probably Theo. As much as I love Todd, and actually Christina was great with the small scenes that she was in, but it's just not knowing what Theo's going to do next, and they're like, I can't believe you did that, I can't believe you're saying that. You're watching there, brooding in the back of the kitchen, what are you going to do when you're left alone with Todd? He's kind of keeping me on my toes. Yeah, so he's my character.
I think you're right. I think I'm going to give it to him as well because, like I said, he fascinates me. Really, genuinely fascinates me.
Yeah. Good improvement for that character when we couldn't wait to get rid of him towards the beginning. A bit of a slow start he had, but he's certainly becoming a lot more watchable.
He's a bit of a Joel, isn't he? Starts off bland.
Yeah,
and then he becomes evil.
Even Jeff, we didn't particularly enjoy watching Jeff right at the start. They need to do more to the beginnings.
I don't know. I think it's an interesting twist. Anyway, that was the week of Coronation Street.
That was the week of the Coronation Street. You're right.